It's fine, sweetie.
What up, what up, what up? It is. It is fine, sweetie. And another week of this lovely hellscape that we call the Trump regime.
I wish Charlemagne the God will also go away and take his little friend Andrew Schultz with him. I hate
Oh,
Andrew Schultz the most. I feel like, yeah, I want to hex him.
I feel like people are so. I think that what's beautiful about people is that they are so complicated and nuanced because Charlemagne the God is on The Breakfast Club with Jess Hilarious. And Jess Hilarious is like really, really, really wanting to be anti trans. And, there's a comedian who I mean, I guess there's a person, a media personality that,
T.S. Madison.
yeah, did you already see this?
I saw something about it, but I already hate fucking Jess Hilarious. I think she's
Okay, well, let us
homophobic
explain for
because,
the rest of the people.
okay.
Alright, on The Breakfast Club, they were doing some kinda live segment where, they were asking, like, "Who do you wanna see as the next queens of comedy?" And someone says and this, how you just comment on lives, and someone says T.S. Madison. And Jess Hilarious goes, Jess or T.S. Madison, we already have a Kings of Comedy. And again, I didn't know who T.S. Madison was. And then they showed this picture, and I'm like, well, that looks like a woman to me. But it turns out she's a trans woman. And there was another creator on before, and Jess Hilarious had made like a big point of trying to get that creator to say that women have babies, not people who have uteruses. And so, because you know, she can't stand gender or people inclusive language. So the reason I said, well, people are complicated is like Charlemagne the God like intentionally ignores her and just like keeps going on with like whatever else is going instead of engaging her and giving her like any validity to that piece of conversation. So then he does and stuff with Andrew Schultz, and I don't know what he did that might be problematic this week, but
I think just giving, I don't think that Andrew Schultz would be anywhere near as popular as he is without Charlemagne. And I guess that ship has sailed, and he can't. Even if he revoked access to himself, Schultz is no now. But he keeps doing that weekly shit with him, and it just pisses me off. I just feel like it
oh,
moves him
okay.
in arrows.
I
But if
wonder, did he sign some kind of contract or something?
I don't know, but it just really pisses me off. And even like the other, I don't know his name, but his
On
co-host
Breakfast
is.
Club?
No, I'm talking about Andrew Schultz.
Oh, okay.
His co-host is Indian, and he was trying to explain race, like shit that's racist that happens to him. And Andrew Schultz is just like, oh, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so you can't even listen to him. Like that's your buddy, and he agrees with you on everything. So if he's saying that like this bad shit happened, you can't even be like, this guy is 90%. If you think that anybody saying anything is racist is unreasonable, then you can't look at your friend and go, I agree with him on 90% of things. So if he's saying it's bad, it must be bad.
Yeah. I don't know, and I'm genuinely curious about like what makes folks so uncomfortable about like acknowledging that racism exists. Have you
I don't
heard
know. I
this
keep
week?
trying to understand it. Some part of me thinks that it's because like people are casually racist. I think probably everybody in America is says something casual. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And I don't I think that people instead of going, I said this thing and it was bad for whatever reason, they go, if I say those things, I must be bad. So they don't want to deal with I am sometimes bad. I sometimes say bad
yeah.
things. I sometimes like do these things that I know are wrong. Like they don't want to. I think all of it. I think everything always comes down to a lack of emotional maturity and regulation. I
Yeah.
don't think that people can deal with being awful themselves. You know what I mean? When
I
we're
also
all
wonder,
awful in some way. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Which is also like when people are like talking about, well, I don't like pronouns. And then when I get it wrong, then people are mad at me. And I'm like, why are people so obsessed with people never being mad at them? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, people are gonna be mad at you, and that's what it all seems to be about. And even, like, when the mask mandate was, I remember people going, "Well, I just can't tell when people are smiling at me." And I'm like, "Why does it matter? Like, do you need people to smile at you that much?" And they were, like, really mad that they couldn't go to Applebee's. They were like, "Well, that's how we see people." And I'm like, "Why do you have to," you know what I mean? Like, you can't
You
do
mean like they
something else?
couldn't go to Applebee's at all because it wasn't open, or
Yeah, when
they
everything
could
was locked down, like, insides were locked down, and then you could
well, I
only have
mean, I
to.
think I understand that. Like a lot of people are lonely and like this is where they get
Right,
their
but
like
it's not like you can't
exposure.
see anybody. I took it to mean, like, I can't be seen, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that there's like probably a difference between like mask and like the spaces closing that kind of like fucked everybody up. But I don't know. I mean, I think like kind of back to like, people having struggles with like feeling like they're a bad person. I do remember when I was getting coached on like when I don't know if it ever did come up in therapy until like I was able to reconcile with it. But like when I am stressed or when like there's a conversation happening and it's like it feels like we're not getting anywhere, my inclination is to shut down instead of because I'm afraid I'm going to say something terrible or I'm going to, whatever. And so when people were saying like you can't just opt to shut down, then it felt really heavy, like they were asking me to change a core part of who I am. And I guess I mean, I don't know that like people are seeing it as racism. I think they're just like I don't know, but I do think there's like this inability to sit with themselves and like, unpack like where am I doing subtle racism and then actually like make a change to see people as equal. Especially I think for men who like don't understand misogyny, that part is like even harder. But for the mask, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that that was just its own version of reality that because even like now, people still are like really pissed when people wear masks in public. Like, well, if you don't want to wear one, no one's making you.
Right. But that was one of the things that they would say all the time is, I can't see people's mouths, and I can't tell when they're smiling at me or when they're frowning at me." And I'm like, number one, you could look people in the eyes and you can tell. I don't know why we're pretending like that's not a thing. Like, you can
Yeah,
tell if somebody's smiling by the way their eyes sprinkle,
right.
and you can tell if somebody's angry at you by their tone of voice.
Yeah,
So you just have to look for other clues. And it just struck me, like, it's always stuck with me that people were like that. And I'm like, some part of that, and especially in men, I think like they feel, I maybe it was triggering because of the whole
smile.
men telling you to smile thing. And I
Yeah,
always just wondered, like, what fucking difference does it make to you?
yeah. I mean, and I also wonder, like, there was this conversation about some person in Southern California today was like on my TikTok again, was saying she goes to this coffee shop. It's like more of a national chain or a chain of coffee shops, and no one speaks when you go in. And so she's like, it's really disturbing, and it must be like on her way to work or something because she's like, I keep telling myself like not to go in there, and then I do go in there, and then I'm disappointed again. But she's like, when I go in there, I say, hey, it's my order ready. I say hi, good morning, and like there's no acknowledgement of like the hi at all. There's just like, what do you want? I think that I don't know. I mean, I think that there is this like valid piece of wanting to be seen and heard as a like
I mean, yeah, like
being.
everybody wants that, but I everybody wants that, and I do think that there's just a base minimum level of being outside and being in community, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I still don't think that I owe anybody a smile. Like, I
Yeah.
don't. I
Yeah,
don't.
and I don't think that's what she was saying. I think that there's just like because I think that in some of the instances where people were telling me to smile, it was like, "Oh, I'm working customer service and I don't want to fucking talk to you." And I'm like, "It's clear I don't want to talk to you." And you're like wanting me to smile because you think that might make it feel more like of a warm interaction. like, and I was just like a teenager working 40 hours a week, and I shouldn't have been. And I can think of like bakers, for instance. Like, as a server, of course I'm smiling at you. I want you to tip me. But like at bakers, I was like, what cigarettes do you want? And
Right.
please shut the fuck up and leave me alone.
Right.
But
But that's
yeah,
also born out of like, okay, like I remember I was working at Sears and I worked in the office and I answered the phone and this guy called in and like I'm in the office. I don't know what
mhm,
happened before at all, right? And this guy calls in and he's like, "Hey, what?" So the way we had to answer the phone was like the name of the store, and it always had a funky name, right? Because
yeah,
they give stores names, and I was like, you know,
instead of just numbers.
yeah. And he goes, "Well, why
Funny.
would you say that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's just the name of the store, whatever. How can I help you?" And he goes, "Oh, okay. Well, I just think that's really stupid." And then starts cussing me out, and I have no idea what's happening, and I'm just like holding the phone up, and this guy is yelling, and a manager happened to walking in and was like, "What? Give me the phone." And so he took the phone and he was like, "Are you done?" And like told the guy, "You don't need to do it." And I'm just like, I could believe that somebody would just act that. So
Yeah.
you are working behind a counter and you've probably had, and especially these days, you've had 1,000 interactions like that. And I understand that she's only having one interaction with the people in the store, but they're having probably a lot more negative interactions because people are in general more
Yeah,
aggressive
people are
and
not
mean.
okay. But I do think, like, if you own a business, you have to figure out a way to,
Yeah,
like,
but the
have your
people working the
staff.
front desk are don't own
I know, but,
like
like, you need to have a way to have your staff, like, I mean, a coffee shop, you needed to feel like a third space. You needed to feel like, like, I mean, I think, like, I have a favorite coffee shop, and sometimes I don't go in there because, like, there is a particular person who is an asshole. And, I'm like, "I actually feel like being treated like that today." And then I go to a different coffee shop and there's a person there who's like really nice. And again, it's not like they know my kids' names or fucking even know my name. They're just like, "Hey, what can I get you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I want an almond, whatever, blah, blah, blah." And they're like, "All right, coming right up." Again, it's just like is just trying to make the environment some way where it doesn't feel like because I think like out here are struggling. Like the people that are going to your stores, you need them to come. So I think there's this like heavy balance of like not telling the general public to like suck a dick and just go in there and get your
yeah,
coffee and shut the fuck
yeah.
up. But like there's a whole and somewhere in between like the bar barista needs to know my order when I walk in and go, "You're regular, right?" Like, do the cheers or whatever, but they do need to, like, at least have some kind of piece of, like, customer service. Because
Yeah.
especially here, I mean, in Los Angeles, there's a lot of coffee shops. So it's like, well, if you're gonna be a dick, then I'll just go downstairs. I mean, go down the way, and a lot of them taste the same.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are some crappy ones, and there's some ones that are better, like Highlight Coffee in Pasadena is the only one that I know that makes their own butterscotch. And they put
Mm,
it in your drink, and it's delicious.
sounds
And if you
amazing.
are in Pasadena ever and you're not allergic to dairy, you should try it. And if you are allergic to dairy, you should not because they don't make it any other way. I have asked because I'm like, I'm an almond milk girl, and they're like, no, we don't do that. So anyway, that's that with Charlemagne and the nuances of people and all of there. And so I guess speaking of nuances to people, Mark Lamont Hill. Mark Lamont Hill, Dr. Mark Lamont Hill is, I don't know. I mean, I feel like my introductions to him was all through academics. And then I think he started working on like CNN and doing stuff like that, being more of a TV personality. Then now he's on this podcast with Joe Budden, who is a one hit wonder rapper, but
Wasn't he on like Real Housewives?
Joe Budden, maybe like Love and Hip Hop,
Okay, yeah.
but yes, that's mine. But talk shit like Joe Budden. Anyway, so Joe Budden has a podcast. Mark Lamont Hill is on there. And this week, in the beginning, or I don't know when these episodes air, but he talked to his one of the other co-hosts, and they're talking about whether or not folks on the show would be willing to take a pay cut. And Mark is clearly saying he would not be willing to take a pay cut. But if other people are taking a pay cut, he'd be happy to take their money because he thinks he needs a raise.
Well, but this, I feel like that connects to a conversation, and I don't listen to that podcast, but I do see clips online.
Yeah.
That, like months ago, he gets paid way less than everybody else because he's only on there some.
Okay.
So anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, so then the other person starts saying that, like, that suck of shit, like gets upset with Mark. And then Mark says basically, and he's like, you're using all these tricky words. He's like, I'm not using tricky words. I'm using words that are tricky to you. And then he keeps saying suck of shit, and Mark Lamont Hill gets like, you quit saying suck of shit. And then he doesn't. So then he gets up, and there's possibility that there could be a physical altercation. And it was this big deal because they're like, hey, sometimes you guys think just because someone's an academic, they're not with the shit. And you can see that that's not true. So I was just like, yeah, Mark, there's a lot of stuff I agree with him on. But then they were discussing the Reading Rainbow getting its reboot. And with that, they were talking about how
slowly inching into the frame.
I know, yeah, how they were disappointed that the Reading Rainbow went light skin and cast a biracial.
I think that's
host.
such bullshit.
I know.
I think it's such bullshit, and it just and specifically because number one, Michael came to us in the pandemic, and he is depressed, and he talked about wanting to not be on the planet anymore. And number two, he's like the most famous librarian right now, so why wouldn't he be doing that regardless of whether? And then number three, Joe Budden's not all that dark skinned. Never.
Yeah, neither. I mean, there's a couple of people on there that they were like, really? You are discussing that? Will you stop making all that noise, Mommy? I'm recording. Okay.
And then number four, I'm sick to fucking death in 2020 motherfucking 5 of the colorism wars. I'm over it. Yeah. It's boring. What else do we have to say about it at this point? What are we gonna do? We gotta change. We're gonna inject people with more melanin. I don't fucking get it.
Yeah, I think that there's this I don't know, because I guess you would think on this podcast that they would have done a little research because they're a lot bigger podcast, and it is about the social, and so no one seemed to know who Michael was or his impact and the way that he organically. I don't think they would have brought Reading Rainbow back if Michael hadn't built his platform. That's the other thing. It's I think that they built it around him because he was teaching kids to read so much, and then he got severely burnt out, and then had left the library and all this stuff. And so then people reached out to him to start making the videos for PBS. So it was it seems hand in hand that that's what happened.
And especially because
promoting this love for reading
now need digital subscribers. So of course you're going to reach out to the fucking influencer with a big audience because they're going to come over and support him, right? That's any fucking business in 2025. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, just along the lines of nuance, and people is oh yeah, it's 1 minute you're I mean, I think the same can be said about Cory Booker. He's oh yay, 25-hour filibuster, and then at the same time he's APAC money. I take it, but it's
so fucking much because, and I don't even really. I don't even at this point in 2025. I'm not so much as concerned with all the standards that we hold people to. They never should have taken. Okay, well, we can't go back in history. Whatever.
Yeah, it's it is what it is.
So I at this point, I just the world is literally burning, and there's so many things that are high on my list that I don't give a shit right now. I just need people to be doing good work, and which is probably super controversial, but I don't feel like it should be. But not being able to have a better answer for that question
I know, that's what I mean, I think that
2025 is
that's the
insane.
thing. Yeah. It's like, why are you not prepared to answer that? Even Gavin Newsom, he's like, "I never think about APAC." And I was like, the thing that people are concerned about, right, is like, because you are taking APAC money or you have in the past, like, does that mean that you are always gonna be supportive of a regime that would slaughter that
That's doing evil shit.
thousands and thousands
Right.
of
And then like you're
kids,
acting smart about it.
hospitals,
Like that's not
yeah,
history.
deny aid, and then like, do just like Trump is and like deny that they're doing any of that. So it's like, like what the hell are we even talking about? So there has to be a way for them to like answer the question, to be like, yeah, we've taken money, we have a lot of things that we don't vet. When I did take it, this was pre blah blah blah, or whatever, or just like our we've I don't know, like something,
Some part
like
of Cory Booker's answer, like, was the thread that he should have taken, is that we have, unfortunately, it costs millions and millions of dollars to run a campaign and run an office. We have hundreds of thousands of donors. And I
Mhm.
know that it seems like a lot of money, but that number that you're looking at is a lifetime donation. It,
Yeah,
and it's such a small percent of the rest of the money that there's no reason to think that they have undue influence on us. But from here on out, this is what we're going to do.
yeah.
That's a good answer. Like, not being prepared for it means you're
I
not
just think,
being
yeah, and they both
a-
sounded like really angry to even be
Yeah.
asked the
Yeah.
question, and I was like, why would you be angry again? Like, does your staff not have any finger on the pulse and like know that this is like conversation that people are having? So anyway, interesting. Okay, we spent a lot of time on politics. Is there any? And earlier I asked if you were watching Reasonable Doubt. You said you haven't been watching a lot of TV, so I don't know if
Just been
you're
watching
intaking.
DNB.
Oh, okay. I think you were watching that last time too.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about that this week is that if you are on book talk or even like nerd talk and they're talking about how writers have dumbed down the writing for people and they're like, oh my God, they're telling us way too much, let us infer, blah, 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 blah. And so this season, there's this twist. So we're in episode 7 and next week, the finale. And there's this twist, and you could see it coming a mile away, but I was like, okay, great. Good foreshadowing. Like, I get what's going to happen here, right? Like, this is familiar. And when it happens, it's still like the way that they executed it was when the villain is revealed, he delivers a cold ass line, he goes and kills people. Like excellent execution. That's how you handle a twist that you foreshadowed that people should see. But the creator, Kripke, got on there and he's like, oh, I'm so annoyed that people figured that out. And so now everybody's like, what the fuck do you mean you're annoyed that people figured it out?
Yeah.
You told us in episode 3 when we saw this thing happen. Like, what, do you think that we're idiots? So now people are mad
Yeah.
about that. And I'm just like, oh.
I wonder that too. Like on Reasonable Doubt, I'm watching Reasonable Doubt, and and it's on Hulu. Um, and there's this like point, my friend Tiara and I are like texting about what we think might happen or whatever. And so like one of the things I predicted in the beginning based on like just a few words, because it's like, again, writers follow somewhat of a formula. Like there's like these smoking guns, there's like little things said or whatever. And so I was like, oh, this is gonna happen. And she was like, yeah, I think you're right. And then in this latest episode, we were right. And I was like, oh, I bet if we were like willing to be online and say like, oh yeah, we think this is what's gonna happen, then that writer would probably also feel like shit, because it
I
was like supposed to be this mic drop moment, but it was like, oh yeah, we, kind of figured that out.
I just hate the idea that's clearly coming from a lot of people in the audience that like there have to be these season one of Game of Thrones twists, like where you just don't, you turn everything on its, you never see it coming.
Yeah, we're
But the
like,
reason that
yeah,
that worked is because it recontextualized everything that we learned. And the only way that we thought what happened when Ned got his, because it's the spoiler. Okay.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
yeah, I was like, how long is Game of
right.
Thrones? Guys, if you haven't watched Game of Thrones by now, what are we
Right.
even
Or you
doing?
don't know what is happening anyway.
Yeah, and I
So when
think
he gets his
also
head
like,
cut off, like the only thing stopping us from thinking that that's going to happen is our expectations because of everything else that's happened in the genre.
yeah,
Right. So
it's
like,
like No
then
Country
that
for
gets,
Old Men. Like we're like, okay, he's gonna get out of this.
yeah,
Like,
then that gets
no, he don't get
added
out of
to
this.
our lexicon, and now we know anything can happen. So that takes even that away from you. So when
Yeah,
everything's done, you can't make it different. Just make it better. I don't
yeah,
understand like why you're getting upset about that. Like just make it
right.
fucking
Yeah,
better.
because it's like obviously we're still watching the show. It's like, okay, yeah, I want to know if I'm right or whatever. So I think I did watch, and I wasn't sure how this was gonna end, and I'm not even sure how I feel about it. But Task on HBO, it's got Ruffalo. What's his
Yeah.
name?
Mark.
Mark? Is it Mark? Okay. I was like, is his name Mark? Yeah, Mark Ruffalo in it. And he's like kind of this sad, depressed former priest. And he's an FBI agent. Because I don't know if he was like a priest or chaplain or something in the FBI, but either way. So like he starts off and he's just like going recruiting for the FBI and like malls and stuff. And then they give him a task force and he's like, oh, want to do that, but fine. And he's got this whole other thing going on behind him. And then like there's these bad guys, but there's like, are they really bad guys? Are they just like desperate guys? And they're like trying to do this thing like Omar, where they just like rob from drug dealers. And then like Omar from The Wire. And they just rob from dealers. But towards the end, it's like really clear like shit's not working out for them. Like the task is getting closer. The people they're stealing from is like also getting closer. And so it was like, how is this gonna end? You know, so it's like to me, I just kind of thought the character that I liked was just gonna get dead and then it was gonna be super depressing. And then there's like a little good twist at the end that it's like, oh, okay, I did not see that part coming. And maybe like other people will if they ever do watch the show. But I was like, I don't know if I would characterize it as like a show I really enjoyed. So I was mostly frustrated most of
By
the
their
time.
action. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know. I mean, I felt like it was like a lot of dumbass shit. But I think that probably is more realistic. Like we act like people just are everyday people and then all of a sudden learn how to be like professional criminals. Like just because they're upset and they've decided to start robbing people. But yeah, so there's a lot in it that's like really frustrating, but I don't know. I'm very curious to see what people think. Like I did a lot of searching for when I watched shows back in the day, I used to use Twitter to like do a hashtag search and just see like how everybody else was feeling because a lot of your friends aren't watching the same shows.
Right.
But I don't feel like TikTok is really replacing that element for me. And I'm
I
not
know.
on
I hate that they
Twitter
ruined
anymore.
Twitter.
Yeah.
I remember like live, like live tweeting something was just like, God, what a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like you can't do that. I mean, my TikTok is full of the DoorDash situation.
Oh my God,
Um,
that's so fucking insane. What was she?
I don't know. I
I
mean,
think
I
they
think
set the movement back with that bullshit.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, there was a black creator again like a couple weeks ago that was like talking about someone opening the door in their drawers. But it's like so it was like maybe this is like a thing and like things are happening or whatever, but like filming him and putting it online
Well, but
and
he didn't open the door. The door was open. You could have left it because that's a creepy ass situation. I would have left the fucking food and got the fuck out of there. I'm not going. I should go in and see what's happening unless I hear. Even if I heard some
I
signs
don't
of
even know if
disturbance, I'm
she
gonna go
went
look
in.
in.
Did she?
She went
Did she
in.
for Oh, she
That's what
did.
happened. That's what happened. She was the instructions were to leave the food at the door.
Yeah.
And when she got there, the door was partially open. And she goes, "Oh, well, maybe they actually wanted me to come in and put the food inside," which I guess is a thing people do, which is fucking crazy. I would never go in anybody's house. The
Baby, if you
food's
say
in
leave it at the door, then it's at
right.
the first door I reach.
So she opens the door and she goes in, and he's passed out naked. And that's what she says was the assault, is that she saw him naked. And I'm like, he probably was doing drugs and passed out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so he wasn't actively like opening the door in your drawers is different than I'm high and I have
Yeah, I've done it
that's
like I unfortunately where it's like, okay, like they'll send you a thing and be like, your food was delivered. And I usually try to wait a little while before they cut before I go outside. Cause I also am a person who will be in
open the
my
door in my
drawers.
drawer. Yeah.
Yeah, because like, like the door is there and the bathroom's another way. So then like I've accidentally like been there when they were there and I'm like, like, oh shit. But like that's the only time anyway, but I think that there are, gross people out there.
Of course.
So so
Which
it's
is
like I
why
believe that
we
it
were on
has
her side
capability.
initially because we were like, oh yeah, I totally believe that. And then they were like, wait a minute, girl, what?
Yeah, they're like, I don't understand. Yeah, I think anyway, yeah, it's just people. And then she was like, I got fired for reporting a sexual assault. And I'm like, no, that's not actually what happened, my sweet
You
baby.
took pictures of him and then you put them on the internet. Like if you
Yeah.
felt like there was something wrong, you should have contacted the police and contacted DoorDash.
Yeah. And that's it. But yeah, anyway, so what an interesting week. Like I said, yeah, task is pretty good if people I think it's good. I don't know. Again, watch at your own
People
discretion.
seem to like it. I didn't. I was trying when I was watching at your house. I was trying to place Maeve. I love that name, but I was trying to
Oh
place
yeah.
Maeve, and she was on this Netflix show that was like it's kind of a kid show, Lock and Key.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
Is it
So
like young adult?
yes, so she was on that,
Okay.
and it was pretty good. I think your eldest might like that one. It's a little bit spooky.
Maybe she will.
See, I think you would like that better. That you're not like it's not overlit. Don't you like that lipstick better? No.
No. Just like I was telling someone that I got just neutral ass nails.
Yeah, but
Do you
you got
remember?
the wrong neutral. You got to get black people neutral. There's this neutral that like would fade into. I feel like we're about. I think our tones are about the same. So, uh, it is so fucking delicious and good. You just got one. It's like I don't know. I'll go into the find the name of it, but it's so fucking good. Like you'll love it.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, so it anyway. I was like, oh, I'm just should have stuck with black. But I mean, it still looks to me, it just looks like it's just nails. It doesn't look.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like I was, I used to like this one called Cafe de Leche that was OPI, but I went to a different nail shop and they didn't have OPI.
There's
So it's
some
just like
trend that
trying to
people are
find the
calling.
closest.
I can't remember what they call it, but it's like they're like, oh my god, guys, quit trying to rebrand things. This is just an American manicure. Remember those shit back in
Oh,
the
I
day?
used to love an
Oh, they're
American.
so good.
Yeah, that used to be my shit. I mean, the only bad thing about American nails, I mean, whatever, is that like when it's time to get a feel, like you have to get a feel
Yeah,
because otherwise it just looks really yellow or like whatever. But yeah, I used to
I
love.
miss $15 fills.
Me too. I mean, I even this new place. This new place that I've gone to, I was asking them, like, if they charge to take the polish off, and they were like, "No, we don't do that." Like, if you come back to get a new
Right.
like, just to get your nails polished. Like, because my old place started charging me to get my polish off, and it wasn't just, like, $5, 15. I was
what
like,
the fuck? So I have to. It's like
so then
you know,
like
you have to
when I
wash
come
your hair
back,
before you come get a cut or whatever.
yeah, so like, I mean, so it's like not just that the fill has gone up, because like even like I'm not getting tips or anything, so it's like it's $60, and then now I have to pay you 15 to take the nail polish off from previous. So now whatever that is. So it's like it's a good chunk of change, and then I need to tip you, so it's like $100 just to get gel
Nails
nails.
done. Yeah.
You're like,
Insane.
anyway, so yeah. I do miss the days of $15 fills and when I used to get my manis and petties done for $50 total. Now it's just you gotta pick or choose.
A hundy.
Honey.
A
But I was like,
hundy.
oh, I'm doing this professional development. I don't want my nails looking busted.
That makes sense. But yeah.
And I hired someone to come take pictures at the professional development so I could put it on my website.
What?
So yeah, I definitely didn't want to have like crusty 2-week-old nail polish like chipping off
That's
in
not a
my
good look.
website photos. I was like, yeah, I don't think that would look like I should hire her. She's a fucking mess. Anyway. All right. Well, we are missing CJ. I was wondering, I guess we don't have to wonder out loud. I think we talked about this previously about like bringing people on for specific topics. So by the time this finally airs, if anyone knows anyone, maybe you can message us on Instagram at It's Fine, Sweetie Podcast.
Sounds great.
Okay. All right, y'all. See you next time.
What I say, y'all? Does it sound super country? I've been trying to make
know.
it sound neutral.
I think sounding country is okay, but maybe because I'm not there. Because like
Yeah.
I think y'all is like the acceptable term. Like we've gotten rid of you guys or anything that might.
I feel like it's pretty gender neutral.
Yeah. So y'all is like in part of the gender inclusive language that's recommended by the LGBT Center here. So
I like
might as
that
well make it
Southern
country.
culture has had a positive influence for us.
Yeah, at
we
least
got that one thing.
yeah, it was like I did that PD and I was like, I called one person babe. First of all, these are people who teach my daughter. So I was like, oh shit, I called your teacher babe. Because he was like not listening to instruction. And I told him, it's time to get up, babe. But I was like, oh shit. So I was like, I really got to work on that. But I did say y'all, and I'm like, I'm okay with that at least. Like, but I do have to work on like
I
my
get
language.
that, but I do love a well placed beloved.
Yeah. Okay, beloved. Yeah, you're right. I wonder if people would be, I mean, not that he like submitted an anonymous complaint yet that, he was offended or anything, but I know mom gets so pissed when people call her like honey or sweetie or
That's so
any,
stupid. She lives in Oklahoma. Like you just
yeah, she gets so mad. And so, so I don't know if he was mad, but I wonder if there's any like demographic or population out there that would be upset with beloved, and if not, then I am going to adopt it because when I was younger and women used to call me honey, I thought it was so fun, and I was like, I want to be one of those ladies that's like honey this, honey, whatever. But I never really fully got it in my lexicon.
Yeah,
but maybe I can.
I want to be that too. Like I have, as the resident auntie, I want to be the auntie. Like
Yeah, and you're like, you want to say honey? Yeah.
I want to honey and darling you. Like I feel
Yeah.
like I've earned it.
You have. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. Like, yeah. So it's like, I definitely got to work on it, especially if I'm going to do more PDs, more professional development. So
Thank you for listening to the It's Fine, Sweetie podcast.